house was hit. The flames shot up into the sky and my home was gone in an instant.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel. If it's your first time, I hope you enjoyed the video and you have a little delve and you like some of the other videos on the channel. There's lots of them. This is my own version of a video that I saw by Cafe de Livre. I'll put down a link to his video in the description. But actually, tons of people have done this video. Tons of booktubers have done this particular video, but this was the one that I saw, and I'm going to look at the other ones later. There's some really good thumbnails from some of the others, but anyway, this is called Books You Would Save in a Fire. So 10 books you would save in a fire. I'm actually quite worried about the house catching fire, not because it's made of straw or something, but really because I have an irrational fear of fire. It's my fear, it's my phobia. I don't like naked flames. I am scared of fire. So it is a bit of a thing. And if there was a fire in the house, I've got to say that I'm going to try and save my guitar before I saved my books. But I would also try and save my bouzouki and my oud. So I've got an oud just over there. And I find it very intimidating, and I haven't even touched it. But one day I'm going to play it. But I have got my guitar that I gig with, that I'd have to save that first, that it's insured. But also my bouzouki, I wouldn't want to lose that either. And my mandolin, actually. I've got an octave mandolin. I don't want to lose my mandolin either. So I've got a bunch of instruments. I've got some instruments at work. So I've got three guitars at work, and a bass guitar at work. So I wouldn't want to lose those. If they came home, I'd have to save them. I'd have to keep coming back. But this isn't about that. This is about books. And to pick 10 books is tough, because I don't know how much you've seen of this channel, but I've got a roughly about 1,700 books now. I've got rid of a load of books, and I think I've got about 1,700 now as a rough guess. I had 1,800, and with some of the ones I've bought and some of the ones I've got rid of over time, I think I'm a bit of about 100 less, I think. But I'm not going to count them again. But a lot of them are in the loft, but I've brought some of them down. I've got a new bookcase. So there's a few hundred in that bookcase, I think. But anyway, I've got a lot of books. So to pick 10 seems a bit surreal. But it's a really cool idea to try and think about, well, what would you go and save first? What are the ones that are precious books? And there are tons of books that mean a lot to me that I know I could get again. So they're not as personally valuable. But I've picked 10 that have got a lot of either sentimental meaning, or they're very special, or they're hard to find. So 10 books. The first 3 I'm going to mention are part of my big cartoonist collection. So I collect cartoonist books, and all 3 books are quite hard to find. So I'm going to start with my all-time favourite cartoonist book. This is my favourite cartoonist book, The Bus. So I've mentioned it a couple of times on the channel, but actually not enough. I think I don't know how many times I've mentioned it, to be fair. But The Bus is my all-time favourite cartoonist book. I think it's amazing, and it's very difficult to find. You might be able to find it secondhand, I don't know. But I would definitely save this. And it's always actually been quite easy access. I've always had it free to hand, because I just love delving into it and having a quick look. So The Bus by Paul Kirshner. These are cartoons that originally appeared in Heavy Metal magazine, and then he brought out a book that compiled them all together. There's another one as well called The Bus 2, which isn't quite as good, but I just think this is incredible. So I would save this, as it's my all-time favourite cartoonist book. This is very special, because this was expensive to get. It's a very small, tiny little book. If that's my hand, look, that's how small the book is. It's Charles Addams' first ever publication, drawn and quartered. It's the first thing he ever brought out as a collection of his books. Came out in 1946, and this is the first edition. So this is a book the actual physical book is, what, 80 years old. So that's pretty special. And I bought this on eBay a little while back. So this is a very important part of my Charles Addams collection. Charles Addams is my all-time favourite cartoonist, and I would definitely save this. Let's put it with my other Charles Addams books back again. And one more on the cartoonist vibe. I'm a big fan of Gain Wilson. And Gain Wilson produced This Is Nothing Sacred. And this was the first one that I ever had by him. It's falling apart a little bit, but it was when I got it. I got it secondhand from a friend. And I would save this one first. I would save this one. I'll see that the pages are coming out. Look at this. Can you read that caption? Hold on. I think I have to move my hand. Can you read that caption? Right. Anyway, it's in pieces. So I would save this one. There's Nothing Sacred by Gain Wilson. Okay, so I would also save my favourite copy. I've got a few copies of I Am Legend. So I love this copy of I Am Legend. Again, it's a very small book. That's the size of my hand. It's an old corgi. I love these little corgi classics. I think they're awesome. So if I find any more, I get it. But this is a great copy of I Am Legend. And again, you've probably heard me say it's a contender for my all-time favourite book. I think it's probably third or something, maybe second. I don't know. But I do love it so much. I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. I would definitely save this one, Ghastly Beyond Belief. One of my oldest books, one of the books I've had for the longest time. I had this when I was a young teenager, so about 14, I think. I had this, and I'm a lot older than that now. This is a book written by Neil Gaiman and Kim Newman in the early part of their career in the 80s, and it's a book of science fiction quotations, and it's really funny. It's brilliant, and I would save this in a heartbeat. And it's just absolutely awesome. Really is very special. I would save the biggest one out of the two books that I own, called The Essential Ellison. So this is a very important collection of Harlan Ellison. This is the 50th one. I've got the 35th one as well, and they updated it. As you can see, they updated and expanded and made it a 50-year celebration. This has got everything you'd want to have by Harlan Ellison in one book. I do collect this stuff anyway, so I've got other things, but this is a great big tome, lovely, great collection of Harlan Ellison stuff. 50-year retrospective, The Essential Harlan Ellison. I would definitely save this in a fire as well. Don't know if you know much about Harlan Ellison, but he writes quite acerbic, challenging, sometimes extreme, speculative fiction, science fiction, horror, fantasy. Yeah, quite a unique voice, I think, in speculative fiction. He doesn't like being called a science fiction writer. Speculative fiction, and that's a great collection of various things he's done. This is a really cool book, which I value a lot. I also, as you probably know, I collect Ray Bradbury stuff as well. I'm in the middle of a big deep dive on his stuff. But this one, From Dusk Returned, is a nice copy of From the Dusk Returned, where it's illustrated by Charles Addams. So they did know each other. And actually, there's a reason, I think, why they got Charles Addams to illustrate it, because this book is a collection of stories that have been put together where Ray Bradbury wrote about a particular family called the Elliot family, which is a tribute to the Addams family. So it was his version of that. So like an odd, weird family. So they're quite quaint, gentle stories. There's nothing too hectic about them, but they're written like, I don't know, like Bradbury versions of the Addams family, I guess. But it's got Charles Addams illustrations through the book. How cool is that? So I'll just show you one of them just to put an image to the words. That's a cat drawn by Charles Adams. So yeah, Ray Bradbury, Charles Adams of Adams Family fame, obviously. Another one. I seem to have had a bit of a theme. Look, to be fair, I could have picked loads, but I picked these 10, whatever. This is a book that is a bit of a unique book. And again, linking in from the other one, this is a book about the Adams Family TV show. And I've had this a long time. I never want to lose this or get rid of it. It was the first part of my journey into loving Charles Adams. So when I had this book, I didn't even realise this was, I don't know when I had this. When did I have this? Hold on. 1991. So, and I got this from the bookshelf. So I know I got it when it came out. 1991. So I was 20 when it came out. And I didn't realise at the time that the TV series was based on these cartoons by Charles Adams. And that started my journey into his stuff, and I started, trying to get his stuff, and it's very difficult to get, and it's very expensive. So it's something I've got gradually, but I have got almost all of his books now. But this was the first part of that journey. So it's a lovely book, and it's got a chapter on all the different actors, and there we are. I had a massive crush on Carolyn Jones. It's got to be said. Anyway, that's one of the ones I would pick. I'm just going to finish with 2 Henson related books. So this is a beautiful book that I don't know how easy it would be to get. Again, I don't know. Designs and Doodles by Jim Henson. This is literally, as it says there, a Muppet sketchbook. So these are sketches that he made when he was coming up with ideas for the show. It's pretty special. These are illustrations by Jim Henson with some background information about the illustrations. And, if you combine my love of Jim Henson with my love of cartooning, you can see how much I would value this book. So Designs and Doodles by Jim Henson is another one there. And just to finish off with another Henson reference, but this is a lovely book that I remember when I saw this in the shop. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely gobsmacked, and I got them to put it behind the counter, and I had to, and I remember telling my wife I had to get back to the shop and get it as soon as possible. And I was waiting for the next payday to get it. And at the time we didn't have much money, and it was a big payout for me. We weren't buying stuff like this at the time. We were literally buying groceries on our credit card. We didn't have any money in those days, and it was a big deal that in fact I bought it, but I really wanted it so badly. And the top of it, the dust jacket at the top has got a bit knackered because I've put things on top of it basically, but it's still in good nick really, except for that bit. It's a huge book, coffee table book about Sesame Street. 40 years celebration. 40 years of life on the street. And it's just such a lovely book. It's full of photos and illustrations, and it's got the whole kind of the history of when it was made. It's got little features on certain people that were involved. It's just awesome, and I absolutely love it. I love this book. Yeah, so my big old book on Sesame Street, I would save that in a fire if I could. As I'm talking about Sesame Street, this is not part of the 10, but this is a great book. If you get a chance to read this book, It's not as colourful. It's not a coffee table book. It's a proper book, this one. Street Gang, The Complete History of Sesame Street. It's a great book. It's not part of 10, but it was just down there. And I was talking about Sesame Street, so why not? So anyway, those are my 10 books I would save in a fire. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books, so I hope it doesn't happen. But I'm always worried about it happening because I've got this irrational fear of fire. Oh. Stay safe and stay curious.
Picture of what it's like to be you.